blood eclipse the last midnight. The moon rose, burning a sinister crimson against the void of an eternal black sky. Cities basked in its eerie glow, unaware their doom had arrived. People watched in silent awe, their breaths taken by the uncanny beauty. Then the howls began, a sound not of any earthly creature, but of an ancient evil awakening after centuries of slumber. This was the beginning of the end, the female standing nearby warns, her voice soft yet suffused with dread. A single night that would stretch forever. The blood-red eclipse did not waver. The humans didn't know it, but the sun was gone. Forever. Darkness had claimed the world, marking the arrival of predators so horrifying that no earthly shadow could adequately mask their form. The vampires surged forth from unseen rifts in the earth, ethereal and otherworldly. These were not the pale, romanticized creatures of myth. They were a nightmare given physical form, jagged fangs, eyeless faces, and skin slick as tar. They moved in shimmering blurs, their limbs distorting unnaturally under the moonlight. But they did not come for conquest. No, this was no invasion, the story continues. It was extinction. They consumed everything. The rivers ran dry of life, forests shriveled into ash, animals silenced by unnatural death. Not even the microorganisms in the soil survived. Humanity had believed itself the pinnacle of life. Now it was merely sustenance for something older, more primal. Panic erupted worldwide. News reports screamed of monstrous shadows descending on major cities. People fought back with what little they had, guns, barricades, faith, but none of it mattered. The vampire beasts were untouchable. Bullets disintegrated before they could pierce their blackened skin. Racial, national, and religious divides crumbled overnight in the face of this shared terror. But unity wasn't enough. "You cannot fight nightmares," the lady whispered. "You can only wake up from them, but there would be no waking up this time." Amid the chaos, a lone survivor, a biologist named Emma Novick, crouched in the ruins of her home. Her partner had died saving her, his body ripped apart before her eyes. Her only child's cries still echoed in her ears, silenced by the creatures. She was alive, but for what purpose? Survivors often ask one question, Emma begins. Why me? What made me so special that the universe spared me? Determined to find answers, she scavenged the burning remnants of humanity's libraries and research centers. She pieced together fragments of knowledge, hoping to understand who or what these creatures were. Entire cities vanished in a single night. Streets once filled with laughter were left quiet, forests, mountains, and oceans, all consumed in the vampires' unrelenting march. Stock footage captured nature's transformation, oceans blackened, the sky thick with ash, and lush greenery replaced by calcified desolation. Humanity's remaining survivors fled deeper underground, where even whispers were too loud. They came in silences defined only by death, as it's been told, and the world became their feeding ground. Emma's research led her to crumbling ruins covered in ancient carvings. Her trembling fingers brushed against symbols older than human civilization. She discovered the truth. Vampires were not earthly parasites. They were cosmic exiles, banished here by a forgotten race millennia ago, trapped within the confines of Earth itself, waiting for the right moment. When we unearthed the planet's secrets, we unknowingly awakened them, she explains. They were never ours. They were never meant to be. The blood eclipse was their harbinger, a celestial symbol of their freedom and vengeance. Their intent was clear, to punish this world for hosting their imprisonment. Deep within the ruins, Emma found something, a shattered artifact glowing faintly in the shadows. Its light was weak but not lifeless. The carvings suggested it was powerful enough to destroy these creatures, but how could a lone fragment save a dying planet? Emma clung to this fragile discovery, knowing it was humanity's only chance. It wasn't salvation, not yet, Emma whispers, but in darkness even the faintest light becomes hope. Emma used an abandoned radio station to broadcast a desperate call for help. "To anyone still listening, I found something," she pleads as static crackles in the background. "I don't even know if it works, but we have to try. Meet me at the 8th ruin." A small scatter of survivors answered her call. They were broken, hollowed-out husks of what they once were, but their fear had been replaced by sheer determination. Because when the alternative is extinction, What do you have to lose? The vampires seemed to sense the defiance growing in these scattered survivors. Their attacks became even more brutal. They moved as one, as though the very shadow of the earth had risen against us. The survivors who reached Emma's haven brought grim tales, horrors beyond description. Some spoke of creatures larger than buildings, feeding on the last drops of light left in the world. Emma activated the artifact with cautious hope. Brilliant light erupted from its core, forcing back the encroaching shadows. Screeches filled the air as nearby vampires were incinerated. Relief surged through them, but it was fleeting. The artifact faltered and dimmed. It wasn't strong enough. In that moment, hope stood on shaking legs, and the darkness grinned. Desperate, the survivors devised one last plan. Lure the vampires into the artifact's blast radius and activate it at full power. They fortified their final stand, knowing most of them wouldn't make it through the night. When the attack came, it was swift. Vampires moved like liquid shadows, stripping flesh and soul in an instant. Survivors screamed, some in pain, others in fury, as their numbers dwindled. Emma held her ground, her trembling hands holding the artifact as the vampires drew closer. In the carnage, the lead vampire emerged. Towering, with a presence that suffocated any thought of resistance, it loomed over Emma. Its clawed hand lashed out, but instead of retreating, Emma charged forward. Hope is not what saves us, the female standing nearby says. It is what drives sacrifice. Emma poured everything, her will, her life force, into the artifact. A tidal wave of brilliant light exploded from the artifact, engulfing the battlefield. The lead vampire disintegrated with a bone-chilling scream, and the rest followed. The light spread across the land, pushing back the creeping darkness. The vampires were gone. But as the artifact dimmed, so did Emma's life. She collapsed in the ruin's heart, her body dissolving into soft white ash. Her fight ended with a whisper, but not before it silenced the eternal scream. The light faded and the world returned to its scarred silence. Humanity was largely gone. The earth lay ruined, a desolate husk under the crimson sky. Where there was once despair, now there is nothing. No sound, no chaos, just nothing. In the rubble, the artifact glimmers faintly as though still alive. Is it a beacon for those who remain, or will the darkness rise once again? All we have left is the dying earth under the blood-red eclipse. The sun does not rise, its warmth is forgotten. We believed the end would come loudly, but it did not. The end came softly, with a hollow whisper under a blood-red sky. The world fades to black silence. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications.